In a prestigious school in South Korea, students prepare for an important exam. During this period, we are introduced to teacher Kim, who takes his work seriously, and teacher Lee Chow, who seems not to care much about that year's tests. We also meet Choi So-young, a quieter and more reserved teacher. In the classroom, one of the students is talking on the phone with his mother, which ends up bothering Ina. She asks him to stop the conversation, but the boy ignores the request and tells her to mind her own business. Losing patience, Ina calls him childish for behaving that way toward his mother. In response, he provokes his classmate by saying she is only irritated because she does not have a mother. The comment makes her furious, but another student intervenes and tries to calm the situation. Later, the students begin the exam. During the test, one of the students panics when he hears voices and sees a frightening face on the paper. Noticing his behavior, teacher Kim approaches and tries to calm him down, but the boy insists that there is something on the test. Finding nothing unusual, Kim believes he is simply nervous. However, while helping him, he notices cuts on his wrist. When questioned about them, the student denies causing the injuries and claims in terror that it was her. At the end of the exam, a song begins playing throughout the school and entertains the students. After the test, teacher Lee accuses Kang of being responsible, but he denies it. The argument escalates and Lee almost attacks him, but Kim intervenes, tries to clarify the situation, and, faced with the boy's denial, decides to handle the matter personally. Shortly afterward, Kang reveals to Ina that he was the one who played the music during the test, surprising her. Meanwhile, the teachers attend a meeting where Principal Che informs them that students from another school will arrive in 10 days. He asks teacher Kim to prepare the best students during the weekend. Kim questions the need for this since they have just finished the exams, but the principal insists on keeping the training. Later, Ina talks with a friend on the dormitory rooftop. Kang appears with 2 fake IDs for a nightclub. She refuses the invitation because of the exams, so the boy jokes that if they do not go willingly, he will kidnap them. The joke makes the girls laugh, and the 3 eventually leave the place. The next morning, the students gather to check their grades. Among them is the boy who had behaved strangely during the exam. Suddenly, the visions return, and he once again sees the mysterious figure tormenting him. Panicked, he mistakes Ina for the apparition and lunges at her. Before anything worse can happen, several students intervene and manage to restrain him. The commotion attracts the teacher's attention, and they immediately call an ambulance. While the young man is taken away for treatment, Che disperses the curious students and orders everyone back inside. Later, she tries to convince the student's mother to keep her son under medical observation, but the woman rejects the idea. Faced with the situation, Che decides to remove him from the elite group. A few days later, during the weekend, only Ina and her friend Yoon remain at the school. Tired of spending time trapped at school, Yoon suggests that they go out and have fun with Kang and insists until she convinces her friend. While preparing to leave the school without permission, Ina and Yoon take advantage of a moment of distraction to slip past the security guard. At the same moment, something catches the man's attention from inside, causing him to go investigate. Shining his flashlight into the area, he finds the student who had been taken away after the breakdown, with his clothes stained with blood. Surprised, the guard tries to understand why he is there. However, before he can answer, the boy notices a body lying nearby. The shock is so great that he runs away in panic, leaving the guard speechless. At the nightclub, Kang is responsible for the music and ensures the group's fun. The next day, teacher Kim begins the special class and notices that Haeyoung is absent, but believes she is simply late. Meanwhile, a student goes to the bathroom after hearing someone call him. While investigating the place, he is surprised by a mysterious force, knocked down and dragged to the ceiling. At the same time, during Choi's class, a broadcast is interrupted by a loud noise. When the image returns, the students see a girl trapped inside a glass compartment begging for help. Shortly afterward, they recognize the young woman as Haeyoung. Che believes it is just a prank and tries to turn off the broadcast, but soon realizes the controls do not respond. Without understanding what is happening, she asks Ina to notify the other teachers. Meanwhile, in the teacher's lounge, Kim discovers that the school's internet has gone down and seeks Lee's help. At that moment, Ina arrives and shows them the broadcast on the television, alarming everyone. Soon after, a mysterious voice orders silence and announces the beginning of a new test. The unknown person claims that everyone must answer a series of questions and warns that every mistake will cost a life. He also forbids any attempt to leave the school, making it clear that the punishment will be death. To survive, the students will have to find the correct answers to each challenge. The mysterious voice announces the start of the first challenge and warns that if the answer is not found in time, the captured student will die. Meanwhile, the security guard arrives to help, but they soon discover that the cell phones have no signal. Trying to keep the situation under control, Kim divides tasks among the staff and instructs the students to return to the classroom. Upon reuniting with Choi, he questions the fact that she started class without one of the students, but the teacher responds that she could not interrupt the entire class because of a single student's absence. Lee accuses Kang of being behind the crimes, and others soon begin to suspect him. Despite Ina's defense, the boy continues to be pointed at as guilty and denies all accusations. Amid the chaos, no one notices that time is running out for Hae-young. The situation only changes when one of the students screams in despair after noticing that the girl trapped in the compartment is beginning to drown. After Hae-young's death, Kim tries to keep the students in the classroom and prevent anyone from leaving the school. Despite his efforts, panic takes over the group. Ignoring the kidnapper's warnings, Lee decides to seek help outside and ends up encouraging other students to do the same. However, the attempt ends tragically when he returns gravely injured and dies in front of everyone. Shortly afterward, the mysterious voice reappears, reinforces the prohibition against leaving the school, and presents a new challenge. Soon after, the students hear the screams of Son Dong-hyuk, the student who disappeared in the bathroom while he is interrogated and tortured. Using the boy's answers as clues, the kidnapper orders everyone to go to the auditorium and find words related to the subject mentioned by him. While heading to the auditorium, the student who attacked Ina during his breakdown makes some notes, as if he knows something. At the location, the students try to decipher the words scattered throughout the environment. During the search, Ina finds an important clue, and Kim concludes that they form a sentence. The group rushes to assemble the answer, but they fail to finish in time. Shortly afterward, Son Dong-hyuk's body is thrown before them, confirming his death. Shocked by what happened, the students also discover that the young woman Jae-wook has disappeared. At that moment, Ina seems suspicious of something. She asks her friend to stay with the others and leaves the group. Kang notices her departure and decides to follow her. In the computer room, he asks what she discovered. After accessing the school's records, she confirms her suspicion. The victims are being chosen according to their exam rankings. Hae-young was in first place, while the missing student was right behind her. Analyzing the list, Ina realizes that she and Yoon are also among the top-ranked students. Meanwhile, in the auditorium, a student hears Kim commenting to Choi that the answer to the challenge is connected to Son's body. She runs to tell her classmates, and some students immediately think about fleeing to the dormitories. One of them suggests that they stay together, but the girl argues that this did not guarantee anyone's safety since Jae-wook disappeared even while with the group. Convinced that hiding is the best option, she decides to leave, and Yoon asks to accompany her. At the same time, Kim discusses the situation with Chae and insists that they need to find the person responsible for the crimes. The teacher replies that he could be anywhere and believes no one will be attacked if they stay where they are. At that moment, some students interrupt the conversation asking to use the bathroom. Kim allows it, but demands that everyone remain in groups and return as quickly as possible. In the computer room, Kang hugs Ina and says he will protect her. Unnoticed, the two are being watched by a presence hidden behind the door. Simultaneously, Yoon and the other students manage to obtain the dormitory keys and leave the school toward the gate, believing they are finally safe, without realizing they are still being watched. After passing through the exit, they lock the padlock and continue on. Later, Ina and Kang return to the auditorium looking for Yoon, but discover through Choi and Kim that she left with the other students. When questioned, Kang states that the murders appear to be linked to the students' performance on the exams, which puts Yoon at risk since she is among the top-ranked students. Concerned about the situation, Kim decides to organize the group into two teams to better deal with the danger. In the dormitories, the students who left try to reorganize themselves, but Yoon suggests separating the boys and girls, an idea immediately challenged by another student, who argues that everyone should remain together. Outside, the strange student approaches the gate with a disturbingly cheerful smile. At the same time, the groups continue separated, with Ina, Kang, and Choi together. Kim notices suspicious movement in a room and, while investigating, finds the place completely ransacked. Fearing he may be the next victim, he grabs an object to defend himself. Elsewhere, Choi is startled by the sudden arrival of a man and strikes him with a board covered in nails. Afterward, she apologizes and asks what he was doing there. He explains that he was checking the telephone cables, but found them all damaged. Later, already at night, about 6 hours after Jae-wook's disappearance, Yoon and the other students in the dormitory begin hearing strange sounds from outside. Terrified, they turn on the lights when loud bangs begin forcing the door. Meanwhile, Ina notices lights on in the dormitory, and the group immediately decides to head there. As the group watches the opening in the door, one of the students approaches and is brutally pulled outside by the attacker. At the same time, Kim and the others arrive at a new room and discover another challenge, which requires forming a password using letters and numbers to unlock the system. They quickly realize that these elements are recorded on Jae-wook's body, making the puzzle even more macabre. While they try to assemble the correct combination, Ina and Kang arrive outside the dormitory and, upon hearing the screams, rush to intervene. Inside the building, the students remain cornered and panicked, while the attacker watches them with unsettling calm. On the other side, Kim continues racing against time, trying to decipher the code before more victims are claimed. Kim and the students continue trying to decipher the code together. The students hypothesize that it is an old type of cryptogram used on cell phones. One of the students comments that this method had been popular years earlier, which helps direct the solution. Meanwhile, Choi arrives at the dormitory with the others and orders the students to leave immediately. Still frightened, they obey and gather outside, where the teacher tries to confirm that everyone is present. At that moment, they discover that Soo-jin has disappeared, without anyone seeing how she was taken. Simultaneously, Kim and the students continue trying different combinations until they manage to progress through the code and access the system, while Ina remains visibly shaken by not finding her friend. Elsewhere in the building, Ina hears low sounds coming from one of the rooms and finds Yoon hiding, managing to calm her down. After unlocking the system, they come across the image of the dead young man and recoil in fright. Soon afterward, the mysterious presence manifests itself again through the computer screen. They eventually reunite with Choi's group, while Jae-wook's body is seen near the school. Later, everyone gathers in the cafeteria, where Kim tries to collect information that might lead to the kidnapper. During the conversation, the password from the previous challenge is mentioned, and Ina becomes completely paralyzed upon realizing a connection to the day her friend Ji-won died. In a flashback, it is revealed that Ji-won was a dedicated student and very close to Ina and Yoon. At an earlier moment, Ina asks why she worked so hard for a scholarship, and Ji-won explains that her family faced financial difficulties and that she wanted to help her father. However, after the results of the previous year's exams, she fails to achieve the required score and is expelled from the school. Consumed by pressure and failure, Ji-won cannot endure it and ends up taking her own life. One student suggests that Ji-won returned as a ghost, but Kim rejects the idea and states that there is a person behind the crimes. Ina insists that Ji-won's death is connected to the case, but she is ignored. Suddenly, a flash of light frightens the group until they discover it was only the guard. Meanwhile, Soo-jin continues being tortured and ends up gravely injured. Outraged, Kim leaves to look for her and orders the students to solve the next clue. Kang believes it is a puzzle and Ina suggests that a photograph of the school may help. Kang leaves to get the photograph, while the entity places Soo-jin inside a washing machine and turns it on. Kim follows tracks through the school when he is attacked by the entity, becoming injured while trying to escape and hide. Meanwhile, Kang retrieves the photograph and returns to the group, which tries to decipher the next clue. They manage to advance through the message, which indicates a connection to a death from the past, leading Choi to conclude that everything is related to Ji-won's case, although Kim still doubts it. Shortly afterward, the group reunites with Kim, and together they continue trying to understand the situation, while another body is found in the washing machine, increasing the panic. Soon after, Kang realizes that Ina has disappeared. Meanwhile, Ina follows whispers and finds someone writing in her notebook. As she approaches, she is surprised by a presence that grabs her hand, terrifying her. Kang and the teachers arrive shortly afterward and try to understand what happened. Ina says she is fine, but still confused and thinking she may be seeing things. Kim suggests revisiting the first question, and Ina agrees, saying they need to solve them all to end the test. He questions Kang about the music over the loudspeakers, and the young man simply explains that he used an improvised, timed connection with the device itself. Choi leads the group to the control room while the entity watches them through the cameras. There, they follow cables through the school's underground area, trying to understand the system's origin. At the same time, Yoon listens to music on her MP3 player and does not notice the entity approaching from behind until she is attacked. During the investigation, Choi sees the unstable student approaching aggressively while armed. He attacks the group, but Kang manages to stop him in time. During the confrontation, Kang is gravely wounded and collapses lifeless to the ground. The attacker still tries to advance toward Ina, but Kim reacts and strikes him with a stone. Consumed by fury, he beats the boy to death and is interrupted by Choi, who orders him to stop the violence. Meanwhile, Ina runs to help Kang, but he does not survive and dies in her arms. Shortly afterward, a scream breaks through the darkness and the group discovers that another stage of the test has begun, while they hear Yoon being tortured in a nearby room. Desperate, Kim tries to force the entrance, but Choi stops him again, urging caution while Ina attempts to analyze the code's pattern. The entity appears and keeps Yoon suspended while also spreading fuel throughout the environment. Choi and Ina realize that the sequence is linked to Ji-won's number and enter the room in an attempt to save her, but the situation becomes more complicated. They also discover that the location had already been used in one of the previous tests. Amid the chaos, Yoon is violently thrown to the floor and becomes critically injured. Kim climbs to the roof to confront the person responsible and ends up facing a woman. After killing her, he discovers that she was Ji-won's mother. Meanwhile, Choi confirms Yoon's death and Ina falls into despair. Later, a ceremony is held in honor of the dead students. Outside the school, Ina finds evidence and discovers a photograph connected to Ji-won, only to be captured by her father, who begins a new test. He claims that his daughter was murdered and demands that the guilty person reveal themselves, while the location fills with gas, increasing the panic. In a flashback, it is revealed that Ji-won discovered irregularities involving Kim and attempted to threaten him, which ultimately led to her death and the participation of others in covering it up. In the present, Ji-won's father carries out his revenge, eliminating Kim and revealing that everything was planned as punishment for what happened to his daughter. Throughout the film, we refer to the mysterious figure as the entity because its identity remains hidden. However, in the end, we discover that everything was the work of Ji-won's parents, who sought revenge for their daughter's death.